Hello, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Very nice to have you. Lovely. Thank you so much for coming. I haven't seen you in around about 2 weeks. Is that right? I haven't seen you. So thank you very much for joining again. Thank you for giving me your Sunday evening again, 6 o'clock, as always. And if you're in different parts of the world, obviously. Okay, hi Crab 1559311. Thank you for joining. I'm guessing you're new to my page. Welcome. You asked for my تخصص زبان, I think. I have a master's degree in English, in teaching English. I'm a native English speaker, but I can also speak Farsi as well. Is that okay? Does that answer the question? Okay, lovely to have all of you. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you're all well. Believe it or not, today is the very last day of August, right? That's it. This coming week, all our kids go back to school. I don't know if any of you have your kids already at school, but I know my kids will be going back on Wednesday, I think. Yeah, they go back to school on Wednesday. Is it just me, or did this summer whiz by? Honestly, it just flew by so quickly. For me anyway, I don't know if it's the same for you or not, but this summer, honestly, it just whizzed by so quickly. So the summer's gone. I hope that all of you have had a good summer and ready for a season of studying, a season for kids going back to school. You might be going back to college or university. In any case, I hope that everybody is well and ready. Okay, lovely, lovely. I will be back to my uni. Mercia, very good, very good. You're going back to university. You've got two grandsons. I've got HZ, RCIE. Yes, two grandsons. They'll be going to school. Is that right? Excuse me. Yes, and I want to try and keep it English, if that's okay. Very good, very good. Okay, so one thing I want to add before we start. You might have seen I've done lots of stories on this, lots of posts and videos on this on my page. I currently have a summer sale on my website. I've got two different websites. One website is for general comprehensive courses. I've got beginners and intermediate, that's separate. Then I've got another website which has courses which are very specific. A course, for example, just about women's health. A course just to help you in your writing letters. A course that only focuses on grammar. A course that only focuses on phrasal verbs. One that only focuses on idioms, right? So these are very specific courses that I have. And I have certain packages on my website. The sale ends tonight. Okay, I've been advertising this a lot on my page. If you're interested in, new season, fresh season starting from September, everyone's going back to school and college and university, and you're thinking to yourself, this is a good time for me to start learning English as well. The kids are out of the house, you've got a bit more time to yourself. My summer sale ends tonight. I'm just going to go through them, although I've put them as stories as well on my page. So I've got one package that is grammar 1 and 2 together. Both of them are taught in Farsi, but all the information's in English. I've got another English starter package, and this has speaking 1, 2, 3, grammar 1, and it also has the writing course as well. I've got another package which is just speaking 1, 2, and 3. Speaking 1 is for your general everyday speaking, okay, that you run errands outside of the house, supermarket, doctors, post office, that kind of thing. Speaking 2 is more for dealing with, for example, when you need to make a phone call, if you've got a leaky pipe in the house, if you want to amend, change, cancel a contract maybe with a mobile phone or internet company, something like that. Speaking to teaches you about what to say when you go on a job interview. I've divided one of the lessons for job interview into 3 parts. The first part is what we say at the beginning of the job interview. The second part is the body, the main part of the job interview. And then once they have finished asking us questions, they usually say, do you have any questions? It's really good not to stay silent at the end. There are still things that we can say right at the end of the interview as well. So all of that is in speaking 2. And then speaking 3 focuses a lot, again, on everyday speaking, but using a lot of idioms in our speaking. So that's one package, speaking 1, 2, 3. I've got Mastering Native English. That's a package that includes a course on idioms and a course on phrasal verbs. I've got a complete package, which is very suitable for families. This package includes speaking 1, 2, 3. It's got grammar 1. It's got the writing course. It's got health for women, and it's got English at a party. So we've tried to include something for all members of the family, right? And that includes 8 courses in one package. I have English for Life and Living. That's got 4 courses. It includes English at a party, English writing. It's got stories for kids, and also women's health as well. Again, very suitable for all the family members. These are all in Farsi. I've got 2 other packages that are just in English. So if you feel like you are maybe higher than level 1, level 2 ESOL, or you feel like, no, you want all of the lessons to be in English, I've got 2 other packages. One is English for Work, which is what you use when you're in the workplace, and Language and Culture in the UK, which is one of the courses I'm extremely proud of, because I've got some things in that course that I haven't really taught before. One of the reasons is, you know, when you speak a language, especially if it's your own mother tongue, first language, when you speak a language, you might not really think about the culture behind the language. You just use the language, right? But if you have to teach your mother tongue to somebody else, and people are asking you, Layla, what's the reason? Why do people talk like this? Why do people say this? Why is it in the UK, for example, that when someone hears bad news, sad news, they don't cry, or they might cry, but they don't freely show their emotions. They like to hide their emotions. Why is it, Layla, for example, that if, for instance, somebody has money issues, they will never talk to their family about it? You know, these are all cultural little things that are to do with the English language. So I'm quite proud of that course, Language and Culture in the UK. I've taught about the culture that is used in the language, basically. And my final package is the podcast combo. That's podcast 1, 10 lessons, podcast 2, 10 lessons. Podcast 1, the series, is more focused on work. So it's really good if you want to listen to it, learn the different situations at work. The series podcast 2 is more for social situations. Okay, I hope that helps. So I have put all of these as stories on my page. Do take a look at them if you're interested, and do DM me. People from Iran can also purchase if they would like to. Okay, very good. Right, so that's that. Let's go to tonight's lesson. Lovely. The lesson we have tonight was actually a question from a lovely student. This student sent me a message quite some time ago and said, Layla, in the English language, amongst native English speakers, I've heard people say da 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 da. I've heard people say ta-da. I've heard people say, I've heard people say blah, blah, blah. What are these? What do they mean? When do we use them? So this is what my lesson's going to be about tonight. Sounds and words in English, okay? So that's what we're going to be talking about. The very, very first one, This is the one that I hear lots and lots of mistakes, unfortunately. I hear a lot of people say lob, 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 right? The correct version is to start with the B, blah, 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 right? And the spelling is B-L-A-H. Obviously, when we say it, we don't care about the spelling, but it's just so if you see it, you recognize it. So blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we start with the B. I've heard a lot of people say lob, lob, lob. That's not right. So blah, blah, blah. When do we use blah, blah, blah? We use it in two different situations. One is when I want to tell you, oh, my next door neighbor, oh my goodness, yesterday she kept on and on and on. She wouldn't let me talk. She just kept talking, blah, 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 right? That's when I am trying to say to you, somebody was saying something that wasn't very important, yeah? That's when we use blah, blah, blah. That's one of the reasons when we use blah, blah, blah. Something that wasn't really important. Not one of the reasons, the main reason. Yeah, oh my goodness, she wouldn't let me speak. She wouldn't let me partake or participate in the conversation. She kept hijacking the conversation. She kept talking on and on, blah, blah, blah. So blah, blah, blah is when I want to say somebody said something that wasn't of much significance, yeah, wasn't very important. That's when we use blah, 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 okay? Yes, I've got Afsane Burumand, B-L-A-H, absolutely, blah, 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 lovely. And we usually use it in threes. Just use it, use it in threes, blah, 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 that's it. Let's go to the next one. The next one is very, very similar to blah, 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 but it is for, da, D-A, 4 times, da, 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 okay? You might think to yourself, Layla, what's going on? But we use these sounds. I mean, they're not really words as such, they're more sounds, and we do use them in conversation. Da, 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 4 times, da, 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 right? Da, 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 da. We say it quite fast. What does it mean and when do we use it? So you know how we talked about blah, blah, blah? We said we use this when we want to say information that's not too important. Da, 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 da is when I want to say something and I just want to tell you that I'm not going to give you all the parts of the list. I'm just going to give you maybe 1 or 2 points of the list, but the list continues. I'm not going to keep giving you the different components of the list. I'm just going to say da, 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 da. So you know the list continues, but I'm not going to keep saying it. Okay, that's when we use it. For instance, my daughter, she is going into GCSE year this year, and she has decided to study fashion at university, right? Which is a very, very saturated market, isn't it? And I was talking to her the other day, and I said, when you go to university, you're going to be studying, and this is where I was listing courses. You're going to be studying the history of fashion. You're going to be studying about textiles, which is different types of material. I didn't want to keep listing lots of things, so I said da 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 da. So you're going to be studying history of fashion, textiles, da 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 da, da 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 da. Yeah, that's where we use it. So here, da 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 doesn't mean what I'm saying is not important. Blah 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 is a little bit not important. Da 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 da, it just means there is a list, there are other things on the list, I'm just not going to say them, but the list continues. That's basically what it means. Does it make sense? Am I making sense to anybody? Do let me know. Does it make sense what I'm saying, please? I hope it makes sense, because I'm guessing in other countries, in other cultures, they might use other sounds, right? To try and show what they're trying to say, right? Makes sense? Yeah? Yeah, lovely, lovely. Thank you. Thank you very much for confirming. Okay, lovely. Now, you might ask yourself, Layla, why are you teaching us these things? There are so many more important grammar points, idioms, phrasal verbs, pronunciation, cultural points. Why are you teaching these? This is still part of conversation, believe it or not. And we use this in informal situations, not formal. We use them in informal situations. If you don't want to use them yourself, that's perfectly fine. It's a free country, right? However, in my point of view, it's very useful and helpful if you know what it means. If somebody else starts using it, at least you know what it means, right? You're not caught out, kind of. Okay, very good. Right, let's go to the next one. The next one is 2 words, do, da, dudah, dudah, okay? Do, and then da, da, dudah, dudah. When do we use this? Dudah is when the name of that item or person I can't think of right now, but I'm trying to talk about that item or that person, okay? So let's say, for instance, I'm getting ready to walk out the door. I'm about to leave, walk out the door to go and run an errand. And I say, oh, have you seen my dudah? I mean, for example, my keys, okay? Now, obviously, people around me, they're not sure what I'm talking about. But in that moment, I just say dudah. I'm giving myself a little bit of time so that I can think and remember, what is it am I trying to say? If I just say, has anybody seen my what? Okay. And if I can't remember the name of that word, or maybe the name of the person I'm looking for, when I say dudah, I'm buying time for myself. I'm just giving myself a little bit of extra time. I'm filling in my sentence just to give myself a little bit of extra time to think, what is it? What was the name of my keys. Has anyone seen my keys? Okay. So dudah, you can use it for a person. You can also use it for an item, okay? Where's dudah? She said she was going to wash the dishes tonight. Where's dudah? Okay. If, for example, you're looking for a lady, a girl, and you can't remember her name, where's dudah? She said she was going to wash the dishes tonight, right? So we can use dudah and the spelling, excuse me, again, the spelling is do, D-O, and then hyphen, da, D-A, dudah, dudah. Where's my dudah? Has anyone seen my dudah? My keys. Yeah, I'm giving myself a little bit of extra time. Lovely. Okay. I'm going to go to the next one. If you live in an English-speaking country, especially in the UK and even possibly in Australia, you might have heard this. I'm going to say this, and if you have heard this from a native English speaker, I'd love for you, yes, lovely, very good, very good. I'd love for you to tell me if you've heard this or if you have experienced this. You might have used it yourself, okay? The next one is just a sound. It's not words or anything, it's just a sound. And it's a bit of a mixture between the sound ch, ch, and the sound sh. Mix these two together. I know it's not easy. I know it's not easy, but it's something in between these two, a mixture of ch and sh. And it usually happens when somebody is trying to do something and they're waiting for maybe the computer system to finish its search. They're maybe waiting for somebody to come and give me that piece of paper. I can see them coming. I'm just waiting for them to come. It's usually used when I put in a search in the computer and I'm waiting for the computer to give me the results. It's usually used in this kind of situation, or when I'm searching for something, okay? You might have heard of this. So let's say, for instance, you go to the bank, right? And you want to make an appointment to sit down and talk to a proper consultant. Maybe you want to take out a loan, you want to ask them about their products, you know, you want to start an investment, an account or anything. And you say, can I have an appointment, please? The person who works in the bank goes on their little computer and they're looking maybe for a time slot for a day. So they've put in information in the computer, they're waiting for the computer to tell them what days and times are available. While they are waiting for that computer to give the result, they say, shh, 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 shh. I don't know if you've heard this. It's a mixture between ch and sh. Ch, 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 ch. And a lot of people have asked me, Layla, why do they do this? Why do they make this sound? Why do they have to say anything? Why can't they just stay silent? Sometimes staying silent can be a little bit awkward, uncomfortable for people. So this is a cultural thing, because if I work in the bank, I don't want to make you uncomfortable with this silence. I decide to make a noise with my mouth, right? Just to show you that I'm working on your request. Yes, exactly. Sometimes they make different sounds as well. It could be just with t. It could be humming. Absolutely anything. Yes, yes. So you've heard it. Very good. Masume, yes. You've seen it. Lovely, lovely. Oh, you've heard it. So we do this a lot. And the reason why we do this is we do not want silence. Okay, because we feel silence might be a little bit uncomfortable for you. And also I want to show I'm in a bit of a rush because I don't want to keep you waiting, right? It's all of that. Yes, I've heard it before when I was booking a hotel in person. Very good, very good. In Iran, they stay silent like you did something wrong. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, Mina, you've heard it as well. Yes. Okay, so that's basically the cultural reason. If somebody doesn't know, somebody who's come from another country, they might think to themselves, why are you making this noise? That's so weird. What's the noise for, right? But if you know the cultural reason behind it, then it makes sense. It helps a little bit. Okay. I've only got a few more. I hope it's okay. Yes, you've heard it, Mina. Thank you. Hi. Fadi Boreas, is that right? Hi. Very good. Okay, so let's go to the next one. In a lot of cultures, we want to tell someone to be quiet. What do we say in English? All of you know this, so there's no reason for me to teach this. I know in some cultures they say he's, yeah. But in English, what do we say if we want to tell a kid to be quiet? We want to tell someone, be quiet, there's a baby asleep upstairs or whatever. What do we say? Hush, okay. Hush, okay. Zip it, oh my goodness, okay. These are a little bit rude. Shush, okay. Shush, okay. Shh, exactly. If I say to somebody, sorry, zip it, which is very slang, it's another way of me saying, I'm so sorry, I do apologize. It's another way of me saying, shut up, right? So it depends where you want to use that. The same for hush. Hush is a very strong, very direct way. If you say hush to anybody, you know, an adult, they will really get offended. It's basically one way of me telling them to shut your mouth, kind of, excuse me, right? So we say shh, that's it. If you want to write it, it's one S and then lots of H. Shh. That is very polite. There's nothing wrong with it. Shh. Okay, but hush, that's quite strong. It's really, really strong, very direct. It's another way of saying, you know, excuse me, shut your mouth, or be quiet, or shut up, or that kind of thing. Pardon me. Could you please answer me? HZ Asya. Yes, go ahead. What's your question, please? Shh, that's right. Yeah. Shh. There's nothing wrong with it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. When you say hush, you might think it's okay, absolutely, but then you might get really, really strong reactions. That's why we're saying it. So I'm waiting for my friend who says, please answer me. Hush, little baby is the famous rhyme. Hush, little baby, don't you cry. Yeah, absolutely. It's about a lullaby, yes. Do you see my text? Most probably no, because I'm busy talking. I'm not busy reading texts, I'm sorry. About British Gas. What's your question about British Gas? Nushin, can you see my text? Yes, I don't know your question. Is shh correct? Ish, ish. We don't have ish. You've got an I right at the start of it. We don't have ish. Yeah, we just have shh. Is hush rude? Yes, yes. When you tell somebody hush, it's very rude. Yes, but shh is fine. Yeah. For example, what beautiful eye. Thank you. That's very kind of you. If, for example, let's say you work in a library, right? And somebody, Layla, comes in. Oh, she's very loud. She's on her phone. It's your job as the librarian to tell everybody who's coming in, especially Layla, who's really loud. It's your job to tell me, please be quiet. This is a library, right? So if you say to me, hush, but if you say shh, I'll say, oh yeah, sorry, shh, yeah, sorry, yeah. Don't speak more, please is polite. Don't speak more, please. We don't say that. Don't speak more. That's just a polite way of saying to somebody, excuse me, shut up. That's just a polite way of saying it. We don't say that. Yeah. Shh. You'll be fine if you say that. Okay, please Leila, do you recommend me an IELTS preparation course? Okay, Mina, thank you very much. Introduce about pronunciation 2 books, ship or sheep, tree or three. Okay. HZ Asyai Balost, I don't know what Balost. Behruz, cut the C. That's, you can say that, but be prepared for somebody to be very annoyed. Are you Iranian? I wasn't born in Iran, but my father's Iranian. I'm very proud of that. Can I use the formal situation hush? Hush, whether you use it formal or informal. Firstly, it's informal. It's always going to have a bad meaning. When you tell somebody hush, that means you are in authority and you're telling that person, shut it. Quiet. That's basically what it means. It's really direct. Sorry, do I have a question here? Sweetie Johnny, can you give some tips about the electronic and gas, how to respond? They charged me much. This is something I teach in speaking to. Okay, I teach about all of this, about if you want, what type of meter you need to install in your house. If it's a smart meter, what kind of meter you need for your electricity, for your gas. All of these I've taught in speaking to. Your accent is absolutely fantastic. That's very kind of you, Maha. I'm not doing anything special, but thank you. To ask someone to keep silent, you need to keep yourself silent at first. Putting your index finger on your lips, you silence yourself. How can you make any sound then? Right. Shh. You can still make sound, I think. Shh, yeah? Or sometimes just this is enough, hopefully. Is be quiet rude? Yes. Yeah. If you say to somebody, be quiet. Yeah. Yeah. However, one thing I want to add, I've just paused here. How can you pronounce Persian words correctly? Do you have any online non-recorded course? Online, non-recorded, no. Would you stay quiet, please? What do you think? Again, that can be rude. That's when you, for example, would you stay quiet, please, is when it's what you would say if you're a high school teacher and you've got a group of rowdy, noisy high school kids, boys, girls, doesn't make a difference. And you say to them, could you be quiet, please? You would never talk to an adult like that. Yeah. Okay. Yes, please DM me, and people from Iran can definitely purchase as well. Manager, you're very kind. Sweetie Johnny, you're very kind. I can use shh for formal situations. Formal situations, we don't use shh. As I mentioned right at the beginning, all of these are used for informal situations. For a formal situation, if, for example, for instance, you're in a meeting, okay, you're trying to listen to what people are saying in the meeting, but then you've got a couple of people sitting next to you in your own group, in your own team. They keep chatting. You can't hear what they're saying. You just say, for example, to the person sitting next to you, sorry, guys, I can't hear what they're saying. That's how we say it. We don't tell these guys to be quiet. We just say, sorry guys, I can't hear what she's saying, right? So that's how, in a more formal, polite situation, we tell somebody to be quiet, yeah? Is da-da-da similar to blank space as we read questions? Da-da-da-da, blank space? No, so da-da-da is when I'm trying to tell you there are other things, but I'm not mentioning lots and lots of other things because the list is going to go on and on and on, and I don't want to make the list too long. So I just mention one or two things on the list, and then the rest of it I just say da-da-da-da. Yeah, very good. Excuse me, I just lost. What about saying be quiet to students? If you feel you need to, go ahead. Yeah, it's up to you. HZ آسیایی میشه جواب منو بدین؟ I'm looking for your question. I can't find it, I'm sorry. Is there any package to teach English to kids in primary school? No, sorry. What I teach is just everyday English, general English. Why in songs shush is used? That's a good question. Songs and lullabies are something that were created many, many years ago. And many, many years ago, our speaking was completely different. Right? As society evolved, then we learned how to speak properly. So, for example, if you go back to the times of Charles Dickens, for example, you see that the way we spoke to kids was horrifying. It was horrible, the way we spoke to kids in those years. And so obviously we've changed. We don't talk to kids like that anymore, right? So hush is from that era. Yeah. Are you Iranian? در چه مواقعی with آخر جمله میاد؟ So many different situations, so many different. Okay, if you want to be in my classes, they're all offline. I've got everything in the stories. Okay, thank you. Which language is harder to learn in your opinion, English or Farsi? Well, for me, I'm going to say Farsi is more difficult, obviously. I think with any language, if you're passionate enough, if you really want it, I think you'll learn it. Yeah, I think the passion needs to be there. I hope one day I will be in the UK and be your student with my son and daughter. Thank you, that's very kind of you. I'd love to meet you. What does here mean and what is the reply to it? Okay, here, minu. Here, H-E-R-E, here, like here, okay? Let's say, for instance, you say to me, Layla, have you got a pen? And I say, yeah, here. That means, yes, there you go. There you go is very polite, informal, friendly. I say, yeah, here. Yeah, that's what we mean. You're so good at English. I hope so. Thank you. مادر شما کجاییه? My mother's British. Thank you. دوباره سوالتون رو بفرمایید چون استاد ندیده. احتمالاً. Yes, thank you. I'm actually looking, I've stopped my lesson. I'm specifically looking for the message from my good friend HZ Asiai. I don't know what your message is. I'm looking through it right now. How do we read? So we say 0.025. 0.025. We don't say the zero before the point. Okay. In your POV, what's the best method to teach? There are so many different methods. It depends what you're teaching, who you're teaching, right? I always like, whenever I'm teaching, whenever I was in a classroom, I always like to do minimal teaching, get the students to teach themselves and then teach others. Not because I'm lazy. In fact, if you just stand there as the teacher and you keep talking, that's the easiest thing, right? But to get the students to do the research and to learn what it's like, obviously I'm constantly supervising, and then they learn themselves and then they have to teach their friends. I thought that was really useful. Could you please share the video with YouTube? Absolutely. I will put this on YouTube. کلاس شما چرا اینقدر گرون هست؟ واقعا برای من سخته. I'm sorry. من کریسمس تایم خیلی از پکیج های شما رو تهیه کردم. از کدوم پکیج برای start شروع کنم؟ Thank you. I don't know which one you mean, Christmas time. Christmas time, it might have been a different course. If you can just DM me, please, I'll be able to answer better. Thank you. HZ Asiai, how we call British gas. Okay, I found your question finally. How do we call British gas? how do you pick up the phone, you call, I don't know, I don't understand the question. How do you call British Gas? You just call them. You just call British Gas. I don't understand your question. What I'm trying to guess what you mean. First of all, we just call them British Gas. That's the name of the company, right? And if, for example, you want to, I don't know, you've got, let's say, a meter in your house, it's either old or it's too expensive or whatever. You want to get a smart meter. You want to get a meter, for example, for your electricity or your gas that only works and runs, for example, from night until morning, and then it switches off because you're out of the house during the day. Any of these kind of things, then yes, you call up your gas or electric company and you tell them, this is my problem. Give me options. What options do I have? A lot of this information you can find on their website anyway. It might be a good idea to go to their website, just read a little bit before you make the phone call, so at least you know what to expect. It might help. I hope I've answered your question. What news of the protests? Oh, I'm not going to talk about the protests. Oh my goodness. مادر شما کجاییه? She's British. Thank you. فرامرز. So how can we read questions with blank space? Oh, okay. Can you blank English fluently? That's how we say it. Can you blank English fluently? That's how we say it. I hope that helps. How do we read? I said 0.025. 0.025. Are the protests still taking over the streets? I don't follow that news very closely, to be honest. Prospero13s. I don't follow that news very much. I know apparently there was a bit of noise in Manchester. I know they've got something planned for, I think it's the 13th of September in London. They've got quite a big one planned in London, 13th of September, but I don't follow it. No. How do I use preposition end of questions? That's a huge question. I can't answer it here. Sorry. I wish you the best. Thank you very much. Thanks for your answer. Thank you. Hiya, 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 hi, hiya, hiya. Yeah. How was your summer holiday been with the kids? It was really good, actually. It was really good. Thank you. It was good. I stayed and worked quite a bit, but the kids are teenagers, so they go out with their friends. They have friends over. It's been nice. Thank you. How old were you when you learnt Farsi? Okay. 20 questions, right? How old was I when I learnt Farsi? The very first time I started learning, I think I must have been 6 years old. I remember my father got a Kitab Kelas Awwal from, I think it was the consulate or embassy or something in London, and he taught me little lessons in the mornings before he went to work. And he said to me, because when you're a 6-year-old, your brain is like a sponge. You just absorb everything so quickly, right? You learn so quickly. So he would just spend literally 5-6 minutes. This is A, this is B, this is ob. This is B, this is A, B, A, ba, ba. And straight away, you get it because you learn so quickly, right? At the age of 6. And my father would leave and he said, your homework, Layla, is that now you have to teach your mum. So that's how I learned Farsi. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Online class, no, sorry. I'm going to start teacher training course from tomorrow. I'm under stress. Would you please recommend what I do? Yazdan Pana, Sahar, best of luck to you. First of all, you're a teacher trainer. Sorry, you're training. So I don't know what the program is. I don't think they'll just throw you into a classroom with students. I don't think they'll do that. I'm sure they're going to start with the theory first. And what I think helps, I mean, it depends if you're teaching kids or adults. I've never taught kids. I've always taught adults. With adults, I always think the most important thing is to respect the adult, because you don't know what kind of a life they've had, what kind of a living situation they have, you know. You can't treat them like kids. They have to be treated with huge respect, adults. And it's just to create a respectful relationship between the teacher and students. Once you grasp that, I think everything else falls into place. But best of luck. It's one of the best jobs. It really is. I will leave my YouTube channel. Yes. نمیتونم مکالمه خوبی داشته باشم. Marjan, thank you for your comment. I'm sorry to hear that. think to yourself, all of this learning that you're doing, a lot of it is in there, obviously. How much of it are you using? How much of it are you actually practicing, right? So in a day, how much speaking are you doing? Not reading and listening and writing. How much speaking are you doing to proper people which they respond and you have to listen to? Think to yourself, how much of that are you doing every day? Because that's where the magic happens. Okay. Very good. Thank you. Thank you. حدود 1,000,000 باشه مناسبه. Okay. I have a question. I be in level B1, B2. So I want to know how to be influenced talking. How to use word when I learn, for example, intrusive, instead of annoying, use words level C1, C2. Mariam. Thank you. Please start reading. Start reading as much as you can. Get the information and then gradually you can start speaking and you can start writing, just as much information as you can. It can be a film, it can be reading a magazine, it can be just listening to people in a cafe, speaking English, from any means, any means. کلاس حضوری الان 2,000,000 تهران. Okay. Can you introduce podcasts or series for learning British English? Please go on the BBC app. I think it's the BBC app. They have good podcasts if you want them. And I think they have good podcasts on YouTube as well. Lots. Do you have online class? No, sorry. Private class? Not at the minute. Sorry. Okay. Is it bigger than noise? Is it muffled cry or patriotism? I'm not going to answer that because I don't like to get involved. How you got English class for specific subjects? Have you got in? I don't have classes. I have courses. Okay. What's the difference between various and varied? It depends on the situation. If it's varied, it's used at the end of the sentence. Various is before the noun. That's one difference. Press your finger to your lips and mutter zip it. Okay. چقدر تند سخن میگویی به انگلیسی چی میشه؟ تند. Tond, do you mean fast or rude? Because both of them I think in Farsi mean tond. Is that right? So if I want to say to somebody, oh my God, you're speaking so fast, I can say, I'm so sorry, I'm learning English. Can you just speak a little bit slower? That's absolutely fine, right? I'm sorry, I'm learning English. Can you just speak a little bit slower? Perfectly fine. Or if you find someone's being a bit rude, you can say to them, sorry, I find it quite rude. I find it quite rude. Yeah, very simple. Hopefully they'll change. Your sister lives in Manchester. Very good. Okay. Oh dear. Can I bring this up? To English به دنیا اومده. Okay. What's the difference between various and varied? I just answered that. Okay. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Right. I haven't finished my lesson yet. Okay. I'm going to go to the very last one. A very, very last one is... in other cultures, for example, they might say, shh, yeah, shh. I think they might do in Farsi as well, shh. In English, a lot of us use or tut. The word is tut, okay? If, for example, I don't know, I'm doing something and then somebody's watching me and they go, okay, I can actually, if I want to start a problem, if I want to start a fight, I can say, excuse me, why are you tutting? Why are you tutting? This happens sometimes. Let's say, I don't know, let's say you're in a supermarket, you've just paid for all your items and you're bagging your items. You've got all your items, you're putting them in a bag, but let's say the customers behind you, the sales assistant, they're in a bit of a rush. And usually this doesn't happen in the UK because we try to stay quiet and silent, but in some parts it happens. And you hear people who start getting a bit impatient. You hear that a lot, right? That means this person is very impatient. And it's within your right to say, excuse me, don't tut at me. Don't tut at me. Excuse me, don't tut at me. I need a bit of extra time. Yeah, there's no rush. Usually what I say, if I see someone is really, I mean, a lot of the time if people tut, you just ignore it, don't you? But if you see that someone is really rubbing you up the wrong way, they're really trying to annoy you, I usually say, where's the fire? Where's the fire? Why are you in a rush? Where's the fire? I'm packing my stuff. Give me a minute. The place isn't going to close down. No one's leaving. Give me a minute, right? So, you know, they'd tut. T-U-T. Zilly, T-U-T. Don't tut at me. Tut. T-U-T. Don't tut at me. Don't tut at me, please. Yeah. Okay. And the very, very last one. You know, when somebody says, you know, last night I made korma sabzi, and I say, oh, yum. Very informal. It's very informal. Oh, yum. We don't say yummy. That's more for kids, if we're talking to kids. If my friend, for example, says, oh, yeah, last night I made korma sabzi, I say, oh, yum. You know, it's another way of just saying, oh, very nice, lovely. I'm sure it was very nice. Okay, these are just a few words and sounds that we use in the English language. All of this has been recorded, and I will put this video on YouTube. Once the video is on YouTube, I will share the link of the YouTube video on my Instagram story. Okay, and just to remind everybody, the sale on some of my courses ends tonight. If there are any questions, please DM me. Thank you so much for joining me. It was so nice to see you all. Thank you for your comments and questions. If I didn't see your comment and didn't answer, I do apologize. I am sorry. And I look forward to seeing you again next Sunday. Thank you very much. Good night.